Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for the support of the last couple videos. Buffs and nerfs, you guys seem to really enjoy those, so I want to do some more Series 10 stuff. Obviously I don't have any Series 10 battles yet because the series hasn't started and I haven't really played any of the tours, but that's neither here nor there. We're gonna do a tier list of the restricteds. We got S, A, B, C, D, F, and tri-singles maybe. We're gonna go through all the restricteds, or at least the ones on this list. If it's not here, you know, maybe it don't deserve to be. Maybe it deserves to be in the tri-singles tier. So leave a like. Please leave that like. I need those likes. It'd be like 100 views, it'd be like 10 likes. Come on. Can we get to like 20 likes? 20 like goal. I never asked for that ever. Also, notification bell, because my videos don't always get pushed to you guys and you guys miss them. Notification bell. Please subscribe if you're new. All right, let's get into it. So first thing on the list is Mewtwo. Mewtwo I really enjoy. But it's like it's really fast, right? Here, I think Mewtwo has a place where it can be useful, basically, right? Average. I think it has a place where it can be useful. It has good speed, it has good striking power. It's now the stuff that it's weak to would give it a lot of trouble, but I feel like Mewtwo has a place. You can use it and not feel bad about yourself. I think the same thing right now goes for Lugia. Lugia is a bit slower, a bit bulkier, but I'm not sure how much the bulk matters when there's stuff like Kyogre Shadow around. If it had the water typing, it'd be better. Like if it has like flying water. I mean, yeah, you have to deal with like a Leggy, but like that's one Pokemon versus like it would not. Then you could tank hits to stuff like Calyrex and tank hits to stuff like Zacian, but it's not. So I think it goes here. It has good speed or decent speed. No good speed, but it doesn't have like as much usage as it did with like the weakness policy Sucker Punch stuff, where you can get those big max airstreams off. But I do think it has a use. I don't think it's like a garbage mod anymore. Ho-Oh is gonna probably be up in A. My screen is kind of to the side too, that's why I keep looking this way, guys. Ho-Oh is really good. I've been playing with some Ho-Oh, and in this format, Recover plus Regenerator is absolutely broken. I had a Ho-Oh, it was down to like in the yellow on Showdown, and it decided it was going to I recovered, and then I switched it out, and when I switched it back in, it was like full health. I'm like, what kind of nonsense is this? And it's so bulky, it's already hard to kill, and it counters a lot of stuff. Like, that's gonna be a really good mod. Not quite S tier, but like it's really good. It might be like the best A tier like mod overall. Like, it's really awesome. I'm gonna put the next mod here, Kyogre, in S. Kyogre actually feels very hard to play against right now. It almost feels like if you don't have Rillaboom or Lecky or both on your team, or some kind of like water resist or like water immunity, you like almost auto lose to Kyogre. Like 90% of the time it feels like it just feels really hard to play around, just because like there's not a lot of extra bulk with Dynamax to get around Water Spout. It's just like nuts. Like, it's crazy, man. And then the people putting the Choice Scarf on there, so like they can Choice Scarf and Tailwind and just like, or maybe not need the Tailwind, they're just like blowing stuff up. It's unbelievably strong how strong Water Spout is right now. Yeah, keep something on your Rillaboom, a Sash the Lecky, maybe a Gastrodon, but like there's so many freaking Rillabooms around, it's hard for that thing to get it going. It's gonna be a lot to deal with. I'm gonna go next here. I'm gonna put Groudon in B for now. I think, like I said in the last video, in the nerfs, Sun as an archetype or an archetype kind of fell off a little bit. I think it's going to be very strong still, right? I don't think it's going to be like, oh, boo, don't ever use Sun. I just think it lost so many tools, it brings the whole thing down a bit. And like Groudon not getting like that much of a fire boost because it's a ground type from its thing, it just more so makes it less weak to water type moves. But its special defense, if I recall, isn't like outstanding. It's good, it's all right. It's like base 90, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But it's just not going to be as good as, like I said, if you're going to have like a fire, this is like a pseudo fire type, just use Ho-Oh. And like I said, Precipice Blaze not being full accuracy, Earthquake then being like the next best choice, but you know, Earthquake is, you know, you got to play around it on your own end as well. Makes it a little bit hard to play. It'll still be good because it's still really strong, but it just won't be as good as it normally is. Next up, I'm gonna put See, if this is dual restrictors, I feel like Lugia, Rayquaza would be really good. I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it in B for now, maybe. It doesn't feel like it belongs there. I'm gonna C. I'll think about it more later. I'm doing this on the fly. It's just that it could use a bit more speed. It could use its like mega ability, and because weather is less prevalent, it feels like Rayquaza is a little bit less not gonna be as good either. Now it does have that extreme speed. If you get like a Swords Dance up and just start extreme speeding stuff, you're in really good shape. But like there's Xerneas and there's Calyrex Ice, and then there's like Intimidate that's gonna be everywhere. And then dual fairies being like, it's just gonna be hard for Rayquaza to succeed in this format. But I don't think it's like garbage either, right? So that's why it's not lower. It feels like an average bar. Like you could use it if you want, if because I think restrictors they're important, but they're not like Series 8 important, right? They're less important in this series than they were in Series 8, because there's no max. It's like the rest of your team can stand up to most restricteds without the help of restricted. So like that's really good for like Pokemon like these, because like that way you can use some more of your favorites and not feel like, oh dang, I have like no Pokemon available. Because like even the best ones, like Kyogre does get pretty hard counters to Rillaboom, you know? Stuff like and we'll get to the other ones, but like there's bonds that counters Zacian and Xerneas a little bit. So like that are not restricted. So there's ways we can use like some of these C tier Pokemon and not have to feel bad about it. The next thing here, so this is probably like what Rayquaza above this. I think this thing here loses a lot without max, because it has a pretty like it has a pretty good bulk, right? But its big thing was getting those max moves off, getting Trick Room up and then getting off those max moves, max Steel Spike, max Quick, right? To boost its defenses, get a weakness policy off. But now it kind of just like drops to like ground moves and fighting moves, no diff. And you don't have the time to set up Trick Room and weakness policy on it. It just kind of just drops it too many things. And then like weakness policy was needed for its damage output as well. It doesn't have that, so it's gonna be hard for it to do a lot of damage. I do think Dialga, on the other hand, can do okay here, because I think its typing is a bit better, being Water Dragon. Because with the water typing, you do make the steel matchup better, because you're not taking super effective like hits from steel types, or not super effective hits, so like you're getting like resisted hits from steel types, which is like something you can throw in front of Zacian. You can put this in front of a Kyogre and take hits. So I think it'll be better just because of that regard, than the other version of it is. I'll do the Giratinas at the same time. They both suck. Just like their speed tier is strange, their damage output is lacking. There's like there's Calyrex Shadow, there's like the Incineroar, that's everywhere. Snarl is about. Lots of priority ghost type moves from people trying to deal with Calyrex Shadow. And then like Urshifu Dark is very popular right now. There's just nothing, there's a lot of things that just do not go well for Giratina. Reshiram feels okay. It's something that like you can use it, right? It's like a hard counter to stuff like Zacian. And you can use it to counter stuff like Xerneas, and hit them back for really good damage or super effective damage in the case of Zacian. But then it's like stuff like Ho-Oh kind of wall it off. It is pretty weak to Groudon. It's weak to Palkia, so like those mods are going to be classed above it. But I do think it's better than the mods below it. I think it's about average. Fire types are hard to come by as far as like damage output sometimes. Like there's Torkoal, but like that's slow. You have to like get eruptions off. Incineroar is not really meant to do a lot of damage. It can do damage, but it doesn't do like big damage like something like Reshiram can do in one hit. So fire types are hard to come by. So I think that's a good niche for Reshiram. Now on the other end, I do think Zekrom is about the same. Yeah, I think it's about the same. Because electric typing is really good offensively. If you can, you can, like I said, you can hit Kyogre, you can hit Ho-Oh, You can hit everything on this list except Groudon. Um, it can, hit, Water Urshifu. It can hit Incineroar. Like, it can hit a lot of things really well. So I think it'd be good in about the average zone. It just doesn't stack up as highly as the mons above it. I think their mons are just way better. And they have like more usage in the sense of they can do more things and fit more teams. And I feel like Zekrom in sense is like it's a good mon by itself that you can use if you like it. So the Kyurems, I do not have a lot of hope for them. I'll put, which one is this one? This is like what, Dragon Ice or something like that. I think they're better than Giratina, right? Yeah, they're better than Giratina. I just think that their defenses, and then with their weaknesses on top of them, they have so many weaknesses. This is gonna be hard for them to succeed. Like a couple of them, they take big damage from steel, they take damage from rock, they neutral to fire. I think they are. What else hits them super effective? Dragon hits them super effective. Fairy hits them super effective. Like there's just so much that hits them, and so many common strong offensive typings that I just don't think it makes it doesn't make much sense to use them unless you're trying to have fun. Like if you're trying to compete in a tournament, I wouldn't suggest bringing those things. They have a niche where like I think they get freeze dry, and maybe you could resist and then freeze dry like a Kyogre. That's something you could do. So like they're not like utter useless. They do have a spot. But there's other mons who like to do the same thing, right? There's Lapras, who can take the hits from Kyogre and freeze dry it back, and then you can use your restrictor on something else, right? So like its niche is fulfilled by other Pokemon as well. So now we get into some real meat and potatoes. We go up here. Xerneas is back. It's too strong. It's even like, and what's the thing about Xerneas is you know what it's gonna go for, right? You know what its moveset is, and you know what it wants to do, and it still does it anyway. It's really hard to stop. Because what ends up happening is once it's in team preview, your opponent knows you see it, and they know that you want to stop it, right? They know that you want to stop this thing, so they bring out what they need to stop you from stopping it, and then they get it out in the right position, Geomancy's up, and then game's all but over, unless you got like a specially bulky steel type that can resist. It's just really hard to play around, and even resisted hits, like it still does a lot of damage to those Pokemon. It's insane how strong Xerneas is right now, especially without max airstream and Dynamax, because you can get a couple max airstreams up on the partner, right? You max get airstream, so now Xerneas +2 speed doesn't mean as much, right? And if you're Dynamax, you're taking damage, but you're not going to take that much damage because you have to double the bulk. All that stuff is gone, so now it's just like Pokemon to Pokemon, mano y mano. Xerneas is blowing things up. I think next is going to be, I think Yveltal's still really good. Even with the resurgence of Xerneas, Yveltal overall still does really good into everything else, right? The only thing he has to worry about is fairy types and what's it called, Regieleki. But like, that's not enough for Yveltal, which can use like an Assault Vest and still do good things like Oblivion Wing to recover and do damage. Oblivion Wing is a stupid move. 100 base power, does good damage, stab, and recovers health. Gets Sucker Punch, Foul Play. Foul Play is good in all restricted formats. It gets Sucker Punch, which gives you priority. Even though it's weak to like the fairy types, it's good against Ghost and Dark. So like it can deal with those really oppressive Kyogre Shadows and Urshifus. So it has a really good spot. It's better than everything below it. Probably just about as good as Ho-Oh in my opinion. Let's get this thing out of here. Zygarde, dog, Doge form. And then regular Zygarde. Zygarde is not going to be that great. Ground typing is nice and all, but like being weak to Ice, Dragon, Fairy right now just makes it very, very hard for Pokemon. Just because the Ice, Dragon, and Fairy types are just really strong, right? Even though like Dragapult has fallen off in usage, in my opinion, I think it'll come back eventually. Because people are just trying new things right now, right? But like Togekiss is out there, Coco's out there, Xerneas is out there, Zacian's out there, Calyrex Ice is out there. There's so many things. Then there's other ice types, like I see people using Avalugg because they want to counter Calyrex Ice and Kyogre. Um, it just makes it tough for something slow, and it's supposed to be bulky, but it has no weaknesses and it doesn't have max, right? So it makes it really hard. And you want to try to set it up with coil, but that takes a turn, and it's like that's going to be difficult to do. So I don't think it's going to be very, very good. You can still try. I might try, but it's just not that great right now. So next up, we got these things. Yeah, those are big dead sticks. They don't do anything. So maybe they can like put them in. Maybe they give you a good switch in for attacks in singles, and then what, teleport out. Maybe they can do that to get you to keep your mons healthy, and then take another hit, teleport out. But other than that, I don't think you can use those in VGC at all. Solgaleo. Solgaleo, I think it'll still be good. I don't think it'll be as good as the two above it, but it'll be as good as these. Above average. Steel Sack is still a good typing. It's just that it doesn't deal with Ghost and Dark very well. But it does everything else really well, right? Steel typing is always going to be a good typing. And you can still do like that, bulldoze weakness policy stuff with it, where you lower the opponent's speed, keep its speed up. It just doesn't have the max move power anymore. But it still does big damage. It's just that you can kind of 1v1 this thing if it's not boosted, like with an Incineroar, because it doesn't have that double bulk anymore. So you can, if you chip it out a little bit, you can kind of finish it with an Incineroar, no difficulty. And like other like non-restricted mons can go head to head with it a little bit better. But it's still very powerful, and it's still better than everything from C and down, at least in my opinion. Better bulk, better damage output, or both, right? Next is, I think Lunala can go about here. It just sucks. Like, Lunala is really good, right? It's probably better than most of these mons. But the opportunity cost of using this ghost type instead of the other ghost type is just really high. And then it's like 4 times weak to ghost. Yeah, it gets Shadow Shield, but like you can play around the Shadow Shield, right? You can like hit it with like something else first, then Astral Barrage it later. Like there's ways around the Shadow Shield that Lunala can't play itself out of, right? It doesn't have like a way to like maybe you can like Tailwind or something, but even then, Tailwind doesn't last forever. So I don't know how Lunala really fits in the format as something that's really strong. I know it's really strong in past formats. I just think in this one, it might struggle a little bit, and I could be wrong. And I feel like it can do more than I'm giving it credit for. But as I'm thinking of it right now today, I think C is good for it. Now I think I wanted to put this higher because I like it a lot, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be unbiased and put it in B. Really good bulk, and then not taking less super effective damage than it normally should is great. You might be able to intimidate it more to Solgaleo, but Solgaleo is always gonna take more damage, so I think that kind of levels them out. Like this thing is just gonna be way bulkier than most mons you have. It's what is it, Steel and Psychic like the other ones. So it doesn't take that 2 times effective damage from Dark. It doesn't take that 2 times effective damage from Ghost. I think it only takes 1.5 from Fighting. What else would it be? Weak 2 ground types. It doesn't take the full damage from ground type moves that would normally just kill it. Man, I might need to move it up because bulk is going to be really important this series, isn't it? Man, I think I'm going to raise it up a little bit. Don't kill me in the comments. Let me know if you agree though. I think I'm going to move it up. I think I convinced myself to bring the boy up a little bit higher. Next we got this thing, about the same as Lunala. 4 times weak. So it just makes it has the ability of Necrozma Dust, Necrozma Dust Main, but because it has 2 4 times weaknesses, that ability makes it 3 times weak, right? So it's still more than 2 times. So like it doesn't really make a difference. Get this thing out of here. I think it's whack. Try singles. Zacian is absolutely stupid broken. It's just so fast and hits so hard. Then it starts at +1, which basically makes it kind of intimidate proof-ish because you're just intimidating it to neutral. And then it has access to like substitute and swords dance, which is like, come on now, how many tools does this thing need? Now it did lose the Dynamax doubling, which is like a really big deal, right? Because people were like thinking, oh well, you know, it just does its base damage. Why it was so good in Dynamax is because it did double damage to Dynamax Pokemon, regardless of where their health was, right? So if it was at 100% health, you do 200 base power damage. If it was only at half health, which would be its normal base original health, it's still doing 200 base damage to that mon, regardless of health. So like it was basically hitting mons at their normal health for 200 base power, and like that's absolutely criminal. And it has more. I think it has more immunities than weaknesses. It's weak to fire. It's weak to ground. It's immune to poison, immune to dragon. What else could it be immune to? I think it's just those two. But yeah, like it just has those two weaknesses. So it has as many immunities as it does weaknesses, and then everything else it resists or takes neutral. That's so dumb. It's stupid. Like it's absolutely stupid. And even like it takes pretty decent damage from Xerneas still. Which shows you how strong Xerneas is. And these aren't necessarily ordered, these three, because if it was, I'd maybe put Zacian in one. And then maybe Kyogre and Xerneas interchangeable, I guess, because this one does not need the setup. But once this one does get set up, it's over. This list includes these guys, so I'll include them here. Even without the sword, Zacian not crowned is better than all of these mons. This thing is in C just because the opportunity cost is high, right? It has good stats, good bulk, starts at +1, but you can still intimidate it. Yeah, you can't still intimidate it. It doesn't have a great offensive move. It has Behemoth's Bash, which is really good. But it doesn't have like it doesn't have like Sacred Sword. It has close combat, which will lower that bulk that you worked so hard to get with the +1. So it kind of doesn't play into its strengths very well, basically is what I'm trying to get at. Maybe in a 2 restricted format it'll really shine. I think that's where it'll be like busted, but in a 1 restricted format I think it's tough to use. Like it's just not better than like Solgaleo, right? Because you can't intimidate it, and it's not as weak to some of the stuff that this is weak to. So then I'd put this one I'd put this one in the same, because I think it's faster, so you can actually do more tricks with this one because it's a bit faster than this one. So I think they're about the same. Xerneas is actually kind of stupid in this format. It's so bulky. It takes hits, and it's like because of the poison type, you take neutral hits from dragon. Now it gets hard walled by like Zacian, because dragon and fairy don't really hit it well. Dragon and poison don't hit it well, but like you can like cosmic power boost this thing to a lot. Stored power, like it's actually really bulky. You can give it like the power up sets. And it doesn't have a base 100 dragon type move, right? No drawbacks either. It just one Dynamax Cannon is base 100, hits every time, no drawbacks, which is awesome. It's like the best dragon move in the game. So it can do a lot of damage while eating hits, and it's also very, very fast. It's like base 130 or something like that. Let me know in the comments what the base speed is. But like that's really fast for something that takes so many hits. So I'm gonna put my boy here for now. I think it's S tier, but I think just the way it's performing right now is about A tier, because people are running a lot of Intimidate and Wide Guard, and that does hurt it a bit, because it doesn't have, I don't think, as much single striking capability as stuff that can match like Glacial Lance. Like, don't tell anybody, but when it comes to Calyrex Shadow, I've been running Shadow Ball. I don't think Calyrex Ice has a move like that, a single target ice move. It might have Ice Will Crash, but like it's not as good, right? Because it can miss. But Glacial Lance is still stupid strong. You get in the right position, you can still weakness policy boost it, I want to say too, so you might be okay. I might revisit this and bring them up higher because I'm a really big fan of the Pokemon. But for now, I think A is good. Really good bulk, take some hits. This thing up here is busted. People have been running like Wide Guard just to counter it and Kyogre specifically, but like it hasn't deterred people from using it because they're so strong, right? Even with Wide Guard being out there, still running Astral Mirage and Expanding Force and just not caring at all because it's just blowing things up, absolutely just blowing stuff up. People are running like a lot of Shadow Sting. Aegis Slash has seen a lot of usage because it has wide guarded Shadow Sneak because of Calyrex. Like, people are building their teams to deal with that thing. That just lets you know how strong it is. And this guy, maybe he could try singles and have some success there. Anyway, this is about 25 minutes long. But I did it in one take. I don't have to really edit this down. So shout out to me. Shout out to you guys for watching. If you made it to the end, you know, like I said, leave a like. Comment below if you agree with the list. What's your favorite Pokemon on this list or something like that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.